delving into healing my inner child, but I find out that I don't like them that much. How can one not love the tiny version of themselves that's broken and shattered and feels abandoned? Hey, Radiant Souls, welcome back to my channel. My name is Jenna, and I guide high achieving women to create magnetic, fulfilling relationships without years of traditional talk therapy by repairing the mother wound. And if that sounds interesting to you, make sure you subscribe and hit that bell notification so that you never miss another video. If you are unsure of what the inner child is, make sure to watch this video right here and circle back to this one. In this video, I'm going to touch base on why somebody would embark on this journey and then find out that they dislike their inner child. Also, I'm adding some steps on how to begin this journey. So first, let's talk about why somebody would dislike their inner child. I have 3 reasons that I'd like to share with you today. And number 1 is negative childhood experiences, better known as childhood trauma. I'm sure you saw that one coming. If you grew up in a not so great home, or if you grew up in a loving, supportive home, you could still have your emotional needs go unmet. In my experience, I had an overcritical parent, but not to be mean and put me down, but to help me succeed. But this caused me to seek external validation and tie my self-worth to my success or my productivity, causing me to slip into negative self-talk and self-sabotage if I didn't hit my high fucking standards and the expectations that I set for myself. See, my parent didn't have to talk poorly to me. I did it to myself. And this pushed me further and further away from my inner child. The feelings of neglect, abuse, criticism, and abandonment bubbled up, creating immense rage in my teen and young adult years. Again, my parents are both loving and supportive. It was my perception that created my reality. On to number 2, cultural and societal conditioning. This is a bit more difficult to connect with because we are so conditioned to obey the law. Well, most of us. We have to go to school. We have to get good grades. We have to go to an amazing college. We have to find the love of our life who is romance novel cover worthy, who sweeps us off our feet, and we create this incredible family. And then we grow old, live happily ever after, fulfilled and feeling cherished. Wrong. When we miss any of these societal expectations, we feel completely unworthy and shame. In my case, I didn't go to traditional college. I felt deep shame and felt like I was not successful. I didn't want kids. I didn't want to get married. I didn't want to be tied down because I wanted to be in Paris writing novels and living the life. I still do. But my limiting beliefs made me think that I was not good enough because I didn't go to a traditional college. I couldn't write books. And I most certainly could not get enough money to go to France. That is just for rich people. Those are the limiting beliefs and recordings that I have downloaded in my brain garden that need to be weeded out. Thus again, pushing my inner child further and further down into a tiny cage into my left hip. That's where most of my pain is. And when I am not tapped into my inner child, that pain will radiate out again. This was also where I started to create masks because of people pleasing. I didn't want to be too much, too dramatic, too sparkly, and being seen as weird and awkward and overwhelming to those that didn't like my vibration. Now, before I get to the last reason, I want to ask you, is this resonating with you at all? And if so, do you feel like you are pushing your inner child away or have already? Throw it in the comments below. I'd love to hear. Internalized limiting beliefs and self-judgment. Now, judgment is tricky. We can feel judged by parents, peers, and society, but also we see our parents judging themselves and others. Have you ever heard your mom judge her appearance, her body, the neighbor's appearance. These seemingly harmless judgments are modeled to you, and then you use them to reflect back to yourself. What do I look like? What do people think about me? Am I too much? Ew, why is she wearing that? It is Mean Girls 24/7 up in here. And also you could have a parent that was verbally, emotionally, or even physically abusive. I always heard, if you don't stop crying, I'll give you something to cry about, or go to your room. Again, these do not seem harsh to say to a kid that's misbehaving, but I internalized this as being vulnerable or showing my emotions is bad news bears, danger zone. And if I'm vulnerable, I get sent away. So I learned to shut off my emotions and stop crying, become dissociated and freeze so that I could connect back to my parent faster. Coping skill. And this is a form of gaslighting. And with constantly being gaslit by our parents, we then feel comfortable and that it feels familiar by receiving those same gaslighting phrases from romantic relationships. Instead of saying, wait a minute, they shouldn't be treating me that way, we may say, it's not that big of a deal, or they didn't mean it. But then we play it over and over in our minds for weeks, months, and years subconsciously when we don't process that feeling. And it becomes a lighthouse for other toxic narcissistic relationships to come into our life. Or in a romantic relationship that is toxic, we may say, I should be grateful because they provide X, Y, and Z, which is still your needs going unmet, but it is familiar. That's what you received with it, your parents, and now that's what you're going to accept from a romantic relationship. Now, if this has resonated with you thus far, here are a couple of steps to help you begin this process of healing your inner child. In my personal situation and with my clients, I see that there is a lot more to do with not only the inner child, but the mother wound. And that's why I utilize a lot of tools to heal that connection and that relationship. First, we have self-reflection. Go back in your memories and write down everything you can remember from your child. I know a lot of the times, especially if we've had childhood trauma, it's difficult to think of memories, but think as far back as you can remember and start from there, writing all of the amazing things that you've experienced and some of the not so great things so that your inner child starts to feel seen. Inner child exercises. This can look like journaling prompts, meditation. I have an incredible inner child healing hypnotherapy located in the description below that you can snag for free and start listening to now. I actually enjoy listening to this at night for 7 days and writing every single morning how I feel different from listening to that the night before. And lastly, seeking out support. This can be from books, from courses, from therapists, from coaches. I offer one-on-one and group coaching programs for anyone who wants to transform their life at a rapid pace. I hope this video has helped you, and please share in the comments below any ahas that you may have had. If you haven't yet, hit like and subscribe, and also share this video to anyone who may need this information as well. And always remember to geek responsibly.